And Adolescence, I'll tell you why, because this is a show that has been being raved about, and I've spoken about on the podcast before as to how whenever something is raved about, my initial instinct is to not like it and to not want to rave about it, and to be like, no, well, whatever. And so, in a way, I was almost kind of like, I'm not going to watch this because I heard about the subject matter and I was like, don't think I want to do that. Everyone's raving about it. Don't think I want to. I'm going to be contrarian. Then my brother in Nigeria sent us a message going, hang on a second, have you guys seen Adolescence? And I have to put in the context of my brother he's the youngest. We still think of him as the baby, even though he's 38. Like, but we still think of him as the baby. And he is the last one of us who stopped liking the Fast and Furious movies. Let me put it that way. So yeah. for him to kind of go, have you seen Adolescence? I was like, okay, there is something here that's traveling. I need to watch this. It's probably going to be a little bit baby reindeer. So Sharon, I'll give this to you. Tell us about Adolescence. What's going on here?
Okay, yeah, this is a four-parter, and it's almost constructed like a four-act play.
Mm.
There are these quite neat, compartmentalized, different sort of scenes, and each episode, 4 episodes, you follow a different character through. But the story is this young boy, age 13, and the first episode, his family are woken up at the crack of dawn by the police bursting in. They're armed, they're tooled up, and they burst in and they arrest their 13-year-old son, accused of murder. And then as the series unfolds, you find out who was murdered, and then you try to find out again, like you're following the police along, what the motive could be, because we know what happened because it's sort of laid out quite early on, but we don't know why. And so the why of it, you start to see it through the first episode, which is very much the police arresting this young boy and that first interview. The second is it's called day one. And then the next episode is like day 3, where it's the police are then gathering enough evidence to see can they charge this young boy this offence. And then it jumps ahead to and then it jumps ahead again. So I think I don't want to sort of give too much away by jumping ahead by sort of going into it. But it looks, and doesn't take your conventional approach to this sort of crime, because normally you'd expect it to be crime procedure, you get the arrest, you cut between suspect, you cut between the police, you cut between the family, and then you follow that through all the way through the process of the legal process.
Which is part of the reason I did not want to watch this.
Yeah, because because when you see the first episode, you're thinking, okay, now I know where this is going. And then you start with the second one, and you're thinking, actually, this is a bit different than I thought. And then the third one, you go, whoa, I was not expecting this.
Yeah.
And then again, the last episode, you're like, okay, you had no idea what it was going to do, basically.
Yeah. And I'll tell you,
into that whole world of young people at school, a world that is completely alien to us. Obviously, we're all grown up. None of us have got teenagers. And it's a completely alien world. When you think of school today, and then you think of our own school days, probably we're all very similar, even though we're at different ages. We're sort of, up until I think the
2000s,
up until the last
probably
10 years, I think our school experiences were probably very similar. You could have gone to school in the 60s, 70s, 80s, early 90s, and probably would have recounted very similar experiences. And then everything took a big change with social media.
Well, yeah, sure. And I mean, as a teacher, you can tell us about that.
Well, yeah, no, it's changed,
and I think
changed a lot. And it's sort of changing more and more and more every time. It's changing. Things come around, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I mean, I thought like now all schools have that Harris fencing up, named after me, obviously. But so all schools now, I mean, they're totally like it's like lockdown. It's like lockdown. They can't go anywhere. You have to use your lanyards to go anywhere.
Yeah,
sort of shut down. They have lockdown procedures.
There's actually a line in one of the episodes about that exact thing. About that
exact system where it goes, this is a lockdown, because they have to do practice, and the teachers are supposed to lock the doors and it's just like, what's going on here, you know?
There's a line about that. But anyway, so sorry, Sharon, I interrupted you. So back to you.
No, I was just going to say, so it delves into the crime, the nature of the crime, and aspects of this crime that would be just alien to anyone who's probably over the age of 20, because it is just an alien experience. And you follow each episode, you're focused on one particular character, and you see everything from their point of view. And the way it's shot is that it's almost like these these sort of they call it one shot, don't they? Where the camera is like tracking the whole
Yeah,
time,
yeah. Well, the thing is,
following.
did you notice? Yeah, that every single episode of this is done in one shot, Sean, and
Right,
not like
okay,
not
cool.
like a tricked one shot, like an actual proper one shot. Like so essentially that means that the actors would have said action, started the episode, and they just kept filming and filming and filming, and so you're watching everything unfold in real time. People getting in cars, driving to places, the kid being in the police the kid being processed in the police station. Everything is being done in real time. And so Sharon, for me, the big shock of this actually comes right at the end of the first episode, because you're watching it and you're kind of thinking, okay, yeah, you know, this whole 24 hours in lockup, okay, blah blah blah, this is what's gonna happen. We know this whole thing. It's not like, you know, oh well, didn't he? And that's what you're expecting. But then the end of the first episode, you're like, I had my mouth wide open watching the end of the first. I was like, what the? I was like, what the? The way I put it, my brother is like, I was like, wait, what the hell show is this? What am I watching?
Yeah, and
And
I'll say Stephen Graham. The cast is just flawless, isn't it?
the
Stephen
the
Graham,
oh
he's just hypnotic as the dad. And I don't know the name of the young lad that you've got in your picture behind you, Sean,
Owen
but
Cooper,
again,
he is
he's sort of
brilliant.
transformative. He goes from this little boy to
Oh
being
my
this
god, he's
almost like
brilliant.
menacing, and at times you're thinking he just swaps between this, like, yeah, this, oh,
Mm.
poor little boy, with you quite sorry for him. Then other times you're thinking, actually, you
Yeah,
would be a bit intimidated by him in some ways when he,
there is
as
one
one of the characters,
episode.
had that scene where you go, whoa, hang on.
Yeah, there's one episode that's pretty much a two-hander. Like the whole episode, the whole hour is like a two-hander done in one shot. Kind of, and that episode is it's like, it was pretty much a showcase for
Episode
him.
3, yeah.
Episode 3, and honestly, Sean, you're just kind of going, good God.
You're gonna have
And
to
then
see this
the
one.
reaction that a character has at the end of that episode, you're watching it and you're going, 100%, 100% makes sense that is your reaction to this whole
Good.
thing.
Right.
100%.
I should have to watch this one, won't I?
Yeah, no, but no.
So, Toes, can I just ask back to the tracking
Yes.
shot? Is it a tracking shot, like you say, a shot in one? Because I think the Birdman film was a one like that.
Birdman was a faux tracking shot, because Birdman has cuts, and so there's
Yeah. Oh,
but
it
it's
does
just
have cuts. Okay, yeah.
it
This
has
is more
cuts.
like
but
Russian arc, isn't it? Where it is one, you are following, yeah, there
this
is one
this
shot.
is this is done because there's like even something like 1917 had bits
1917, yeah, I can imagine
where
that.
they stitched a whole bunch of cuts or one cuts together, so you had the feeling of it just being one shot.
Right.
Every episode in this is one shot.
Wow.
Is literally one shot.
Brilliant.
There's bits about it where you're watching it and you're going, like, technically speaking, right? There's bits on going, how did they do that? And there's bits where you can feel like the way the camera is moving. And if you're thinking about the cameraman holding the camera with all the cast and everything like that, there's one episode where they're in a school with like 300 people, like literal 300 people in this school. And they do the whole thing in one shot. And you're like, this is mad. Like the sort of calisthenics or the ballet that they have to do with the camera. There is a shot at the end of episode 2 that I was going, wait, how the heck did they do that? Because bearing in mind that this is one shot, they go from one area of the town to another area of the town in one shot. And the way they do it, I mean, okay, so technically this is amazing. I mean, if there is, I know the SAG, the Screen Actor Guilds Awards, they have a best performance by an ensemble where like they just say like across the board,
Yeah, you
this
can't
entire
separate them.
ensemble. This ensemble is just brilliant, and this show, if this show does not win that award of the best performance by an ensemble, because you have 4 hours all done in one shot, there is not a fake performance in the midst,
No, there is
especially
not a
the one where,
weakness there.
especially the one where they're in the school, because these are kids who look like
Yeah.
kids, kid actors, not one fake performance in the whole lot.
Yeah.
I thought this was brilliant. I thought it was great. I think this is essentially, if there's any show that's going to be better than this show for the entire year, we're going to have an amazing year. Because I just thought this, and the way that, because the show, there are certain things that you think, okay, with this being the subject matter, you would go there, you would go there, you would go there. And there's bits where it almost it sort of says, no, this is a story we're telling. It doesn't go to some places that you think.
Yeah, the obvious thing. Sometimes it just avoids the obvious.
It avoids the
There's
obvious.
no court. You expect a court suit. When you have a crime drama, you expect to have a court scene, don't you?
Yeah.
At some point, and then you expect to see those original police officers throughout the whole thing. They're the focus of the story, and it's like it
switches.
The focus is just different each time, but it reveals a truth in each episode.
Yeah,
so they're all really. They're sort of revelatory each time because you sort of suddenly get another perspective. And like when they were talking emojis, this was talked about at work a lot. I heard people talk about it all week.
Yeah.
At different pockets of conversation, they were talking about it and like what emojis mean. And to someone of my age, an emoji is just it's just the picture. It has no meaning. It's just the picture is the picture.
Yeah.
And no. Because one of the boys was saying to his dad, "You're blundering around out there. You're embarrassing yourself." And his dad is like, "I'm down with the kids." It's like, you're not. That expression shows that you're not. That's my expression.
Yeah.
But he was saying, what about these conversations? And they're like saying, no, that has meaning. Every one of those emojis has an actual meaning.
Yeah.
And people were talking about this because we had no idea. It was like, did you know this? It's like, no. Did you know that? No. But it's like, it's just because it's like their own language.
I've just about gotten to the point where I realize what an aubergine or peach mean when you use them as emojis, but I think also the final shot breaks your heart. It absolutely breaks your heart, and it's kind of like it's brilliant. I'm giving this a 5. I think it is an excellent show. Honestly, man, I think it's an excellent show. I mean, the one shot thing means that there's some times where you can't look away from the screen. You can look away from the screen. You can pick up your phone. You can do something else. But then something will happen to bring you back. Something will happen to bring you. I mean, in every episode, there was at least one thing when I was like, damn.
A few times I had to use my 10-second rewind thing. I need to do those exact phrase because I think the wording here is important. So I'm like, rewind 10 seconds just to hear that bit again.
Yeah.
So I was thinking to me sort of high 4, but I think you've actually persuaded me that I think it is probably a 5 because I give up. If you give the perfect score, it's like to take. You've got to find a flaw with it, haven't you? And
100%.
I couldn't find a flaw with it.
Honestly,
so I think that justifies the 5 because it was probably flawless television.
I cannot find a flaw with it. I really cannot find a flaw with it. I think it is excellent. I think Stephen Graham, who wrote it, along with Jack Thorne, and it is brilliant. And I would say everyone should go watch it because
is it the team that made This Is England? Is it the same people who did This Is England a few years ago?
I don't know. That bit I didn't check, but
that was amazing television as well, and again spoke to that generation. So I think this speaks to that generation. It is now. It's very much just
it's apparently he was inspired by what he sees his kids having to go through at school, and that's what sort of that was the genesis of the idea that led to this show. But I mean, this show, because even when Sharon was given the synopsis, I was thinking this sounds like your run-of-the-mill ITV cop drama, and it really isn't. It really isn't.
No.
But anyway, that's Adolescence. I give it 5 stars. I'll say go watch it because my God, it's amazing. Owen Cooper, Stephen Graham, it's amazing. No, not a bum note in the entire cast. It is brilliant. And now let's go back to, as much as I want to keep talking about Adolescence, you might feel how much I want to keep talking about this. We have to go back to cinema. And Sean, tell us about Last Breath, please.